oh boy, it gets even worse. The plot thickens in the Galaxy Fold saga. Love talking about this kind of stuff. It just gets more and more interesting day by day, but there's been some more development. Samsung has delayed and delayed the Fold time and time again, but now it's launching soon. I mean, it's already launched in Korea, it's launched in certain parts of Europe, and it's launching here in the US tomorrow, the day after this video gets uploaded, but with a billion strings attached. So I'm going to catch you up to date on everything that changed, because remember guys, sometimes we don't talk about Apple. It doesn't feel like it, but we do on occasion. Let's begin. So the interesting part about this rollout is that they originally did not want to do it everywhere on the same day, like they originally wanted to at the beginning of the year. Now it just started out in South Korea, which a lot of YouTubers had their folds imported from South Korea so they could do some testing, one of which was Jerry Rig Everything, who is known for his rigorous durability tests and oftentimes pushing devices, I think, beyond what most of us would ever do to our phones just to see what it takes to damage a product. And of course, the Galaxy Fold was high on his request list, so thankfully, last week he was able to roll out his little Galaxy Fold test, and man, is it worse than I thought it was. I knew that plastic display on the inside was going to be weak. I knew that it would scrape up really easily, but I didn't expect it to scratch permanently with your fingernail. Yeah, that's right. He literally just pushes his fingernail in on the screen and it permanently damages it. And Samsung doesn't even try to deny this fact. Now, when they're rolling out the Galaxy Fold, one of the warnings they have on the foldables packaging, aside from the constant reminders that, by the way, this is not water resistant, this is not dust resistant, it's not particle resistant, in fact, just keep away any type of particles from this display. They also say just don't press hard on the screen, tap lightly, and don't tap hard surfaces on the display such as a pen or fingernail. You cannot make this stuff up. They literally warn you on the Galaxy Fold to not press the screen with your fingernail. Oh god, what more warnings do you guys need to understand that this technology's not ready yet, alright? I get that you try to very poorly reference the Galaxy Fold as the original iPhone. Well, the original iPhone wasn't all great either. I'm sure it had problems. Yeah, you could drop the original iPhone and maybe the glass would crack, but you couldn't permanently damage it with your fingernail. Because luckily Steve Jobs and the rest of Apple were like, hey, what do you do with a touchscreen? You touch it. So should the screen be able to handle fingernails, since fingernails are attached to our fingers? Yeah, probably. Let's make sure it can do that. I'm all for one of taking care of my stuff. You know, I never buy Apple Care on anything, and I don't use cases on my phones. I take good care of all my hardware. But if you're telling me I can't press the screen with the thing that we all have attached to our fingers, which we use for touching the screen, then I'm gonna say, red flag, hold up, maybe you shouldn't release this thing, especially if it's $2,000. I'm not even trying to bring that up very much because you all know it very well, but in certain places of Europe, Samsung is also trying to make the Fold more and more difficult to reach. In countries like Germany, which have, by the way, very little 5G support, if any at all, they decided to ditch the base model Galaxy Fold that didn't have 5G and now require you to only get the 5G model, which is 120 euros extra, making it more like a $2,100 product in a country where they can't even utilize 5G support. Are they doing this because they just want everyone to have 5G connectivity, or is this Samsung dangling the Fold on a fishing pole saying, see, we released it, oh, you gotta be quicker than that, no, you didn't buy it yet? Literally just forcing the price upward on a feature that no one gets to utilize because Samsung, I guarantee you, wants to ship as little of these things as possible. And if you don't believe me, here's what they said to The Verge about their launch in the US coming tomorrow. For one, it's available for limited quantities, which they don't give us specifics on, which means they can literally make like 100 and say that they launched it, but it's in limited quantities. But the craziest thing about this is not the fact that it's in limited quantities, I get that, but more so the fact that they are not going to ship the Galaxy Fold to anyone. Yeah, you heard that right. They're not shipping it in the US once it comes out in the United States. They are requiring it to be in-store pickup only, and also limited quantities, which means you know this thing is not going to be available at all retail stores. That's the only explanation of a company saying limited quantities, is so that when you go out to pick it up in a store, the company can say, oh, we don't have it at this store because it's in limited quantities. Now, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the United States, at least, Samsung stores, they're not that common. There's not as many of them as you may think. So finding a way to pick up the Galaxy Fold here is going to be a little bit more cumbersome. And not only that, if you're doing an in-store pickup, which you have to get it in the US, you have to get a lesson on how to use the Galaxy Fold. You have to have have a in-person walkthrough. This is not something they could do via video, not something they could do via email. No, it has to be an in-person lecture, basically, on how you take care of your Galaxy Fold. And this person, this Samsung expert, will tell you how to make sure you don't damage the screen and are able to continue using this technology. Man, how many red flags, people? How many warnings do we have to see before we start saying, you know what? I don't think this technology is ready yet. Maybe it never will be, but I'm beginning to think that the display on the inside of the Galaxy Fold, like, before all of these developments, I would say it's about as durable as a piece of paper. Now I'm thinking it's about as durable as a wet piece of toilet paper. As in, this thing can literally just fall apart with everyday use, even if you're doing all of the things Samsung asked you to. And if you don't believe me, guess what? Brian from TechCrunch recently reported after a single day of use, barely 24 hours into the Galaxy Fold, he already has experienced permanent damage on his device. No, it's not the entire screen turning off, and no, it's not just the pre-installed crease, which is going to be on the phone no matter what. No, he's experiencing dead pixels and a rainbowy dot in the center after, like I said, just about a day of use, which he says in his article appears to be permanent. No, he was not hard on the device. No, he did not press firmly on the display. He just said it showed up while he was doing some grocery shopping and opened up the Fold. He's like, oh, look at that. There's some problems on the screen. We got some weird pixels that are freaking out, and it doesn't appear to want to go away. So he's sent it back to Samsung, and they're going to decide whether or not it falls under warranty support. But in regards to repairing the Galaxy Fold and trying to fix it, because we all know how gracious Samsung is, they have very generously offered to fix anyone's display if you have problems with your Galaxy Fold screen for $150. That's right. So you spend over $2,000 on this foldable phone, and if it happens to break, you know, you still got $150 left, and then we'll fix it. But that is only qualifiable once, by the way. So Samsung has stated that if the Galaxy Fold display breaks, you can fix it for an extra $150, but after that, no more. You can't have a second fix afterwards. They will not fix it after they do that first screen replacement. So, wow. Why even release it at this point, Samsung? You're going to such extents to make sure as little people get this thing as possible, to the point that you're like, yeah, we're bringing it to the US, but no shipping. So you have to pick it up in store, either at like a Best Buy, an AT&T, or one of the few Samsung stores across the country. You have to go through a lecture experience where they walk you through how to use the Galaxy Fold, and also all of the warnings and pop-ups of how, yeah, don't press too hard on the screen, keep it away from credit cards, keep it away from anything magnetic, and don't touch the screen with your fingernail. I really want you guys to pay attention to that, because it's not don't press firmly on the screen with your fingernail. That's not what they said, even though Jury Rig Everything did that and showed permanent damage. No. They said don't touch the display with anything hard, such as a pen or fingernail. I guess big oof to all of those people out there with slightly longer nails. This phone isn't for you. And before you just say, it's a concept, it's a prototype. No. Concept phones, prototype phones, like the stupid Mi Mix Alpha thing that has no practical use case. Everyone just drooled over it because pixels! Oh my god, they put pixels on the side of the phone? Oh my god, it's $3,000. That's so worth it. No, I'm not talking about those things that they just show off on stage to flex on everybody what's possible now with current technology, even if it's completely impractical. No, if you are charging customers money, if you are advertising a product and saying it's available or it's coming to your region, this is no longer a concept phone. This is no longer a prototype phone. This is the R&D department barfing up experiments and then deciding they want to charge money for it. Like I've said in the past, guys, Samsung is not a bad hardware company. They make some really premium phones out there between the Galaxy S10 and the Note 10. They are solid phones that people enjoy. They are pioneers to display technology, but sometimes you gotta know when to hold them, and of course when to fold them. The Galaxy Fold is a pure and perfect example of how much foldable technology is not ready, and we need massive revolutionary breakthroughs when it comes to finding materials that can display pixels but remain durable, also finding materials that can flex back and forth repeatedly, because even after this whole redesign that took them 6-7 months to officially roll the thing out, we're still getting people that are experiencing permanent damage after not even 2 days of usage. How do you think that's going to affect the masses once it starts rolling out to more and more people? But honestly, I don't think that many people are going to get it because it's expensive. You have to do the in-store pickup. You can't have it shipped to you. And there's a billion better ways to have a tablet experience or a big screen in your pocket. What the Galaxy Fold offers feature-wise, I don't count just folding. Don't just say the feature is that it folds. I'm saying, what does that fold allow you to do in regards to just having more screen real estate and being able to fit it in your pocket? There is so many millions of cheaper ways to do that with better hardware that won't fall apart after a day than going through the trouble of trying to make a foldable display in a device that's $2,000 that simply cannot hold up. I'm seriously shocked that there's still people out there that are going to try to defend this and say, well, it's first generation, or, well, maybe in the next generation or the second Galaxy Fold, they'll make it better. There's like laws of chemistry and physics involved here, guys. When you make something that has to go back and forth like this, it has to be weaker than glass, and until there's some giant breakthrough with that type of technology, it's not going to just magically get cheaper and magically get better. That only happens when lots of people are buying into something. Smartphones get cheaper and better because there's a huge market for it and a lot of people buying into it. Electric cars are getting cheaper and better because lots of people are buying into it. Foldables? You can't say the same thing. They've already lost millions of dollars on the Galaxy Fold from the whole attempted launch, recall, refund everyone who pre-ordered one, and now we're trying to send it out again. They've lost money on this thing. There's not a huge demographic of people wanting to buy into it. All you have are YouTube commenters that think it's cool and love talking about how Apple doesn't do this, and when they do, it'll be more expensive. That's what you do great, YouTube commenters. You're very repetitive, and you're as unoriginal as you claim Apple to be. So Galaxy Fold, I'm sorry, Samsung, you've made some great stuff in the past, but this is a huge botch, and similar to the Galaxy Note 7, I think you need to know when to call it quits and to start saying, you know what, maybe we shouldn't send this thing out, maybe it's not worth it, perhaps the technology isn't ready yet, let's go back to the drawing board and wait till we can make something that actually lasts more than a week or two. Let me know what you guys think of the Galaxy Fold and all of the things that have been happening in the news lately about it by following me over on Twitter or joining our Discord. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.